And good evening, good evening, good evening. And if you're looking at my face, you know it's time for GameFACE. I'm Richard Razor Ewing. He's Matt None the Wise Wise. Matt, we want to get started, but as always, I got to go to the questions.
Get them.
If you're trying to figure out which is the best tasting tea in a tea bag to sip on, you're on the wrong podcast. And if you're trying to figure out which is the best literature to choose for your essay, you're on the wrong podcast. And if you're trying to figure out what type of replacement for your turkey dish this year, once again, you're on the wrong podcast. But if you're trying to get information and insight in sports in the San Francisco Bay Area, you just put your GameFACE on. And if you're trying to get insight on sports on a national level, once again, you put your GameFACE on. So, Matt, what do we got?
Well, we got Thanksgiving coming up in a couple of days, and I'll tell you what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful to be watching one of the greatest basketball players of all time do his thing. And I'm proud to watch him do it for my hometown team, for the Golden State Warriors. And that's Steph Curry and what he's continuing to do this year. And I'm going to say it over and over. We are continuing to watch greatness, one of the greatest to ever do it. I was privileged enough to grow up watching Jordan do it. And now I get the opportunity to watch Steph do it. And it's a beautiful thing. Not only that, we got the Niners who are finally putting some of the pieces together to get things back on track, to kind of put themselves in the hunt for the playoffs. They got a big, big game coming up against Minnesota. And the Sharkies are sliding backwards. The beginning of the season got me all excited, but now it's just been going in the wrong direction lately. Beside all that, Richard, I put a little money down last week. It was a bang. It was a Tuesday, Wednesday thing. I put money down on it was a Sunday, Monday thing. So I put money down on the Niners. They won Monday night. So I was thankful for that. And then I doubled down. I went and put money down on the Warriors to win the next night, and they won. And so I did all my betting. I did it over at betonline.ag. And it's Thanksgiving. And we all know what that means. That means football, lots of football. I'm looking forward to Thursday, tons of football. And there's nothing that goes better with football than turkey and betting. I would disagree. I'm not a turkey fan. I may or may not see what I want to throw money on during the game Thursday. But BetOnline's got you covered, and they got you covered all holiday season. They have more props, odds, lines than ever before. BetOnline should remain our number one spot for all sports action this Thanksgiving. So head on over to their new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus. But you must, and I mean you must, use the promo code BELIEVE. BLEAV to receive that 50% bonus. That's betonline.ag. BetOnline, it's the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports.
All right, there you go. Well, I guess if you think you got the picks in and you think that you can win, then go to BetOnline. I personally do not. I don't even get a chance to pick because I just every time I pick it goes south. And I'm so glad I don't gamble because if I did, boy, I'd be in trouble. I'd probably be sleeping outside.
It would go south.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Back to the Golden State Warriors, and you watch sports, and you watch it for a little while, and you're absolutely correct. And all of a sudden, every now and then, a player comes out and does something that just revolutionizes the game. Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and now Stephen Curry. Now, don't get me wrong. We want to put some other names in there because KD is a very good player as well. And you got Giannis and all these other names, but they haven't done it like Steph has. Steph has, like I said, he changed the game. Okay. I mean, inside in the post was the main ingredient for basketball. Now, guys are shooting it beyond the arc. Okay. And I'm not saying anything that our listeners out there don't know, but when he began doing this, we didn't really think he could get this good. I mean, he's a sharpshooter, man. He's amazing. I mean, I saw him the other night and he had nine threes. And Coach Kerr was quoted as saying they were gonna let him stay in, but they thought, you know what? You hit 9 threes, we're in the lead, come on out. And then the support went in. And the support this year, unlike the teams from a few years ago, has a very nice mix of talent.
They really do. And here's what's exciting about it. If you've been a Warriors fan for any number of years, past, I mean, you got to go past 10 years. We're talking pre-Curry. And that's how we're going to refer probably to this Warriors organization, is pre and post Curry. And pre-Curry, if you were a Warriors fan, it was rough. It was really rough. Yeah, you had Run TMC, you had Tim Hardaway, you had Mullen, you had Chris Webber for a little while. I mean, there's been some bright spots, but
yeah, you also had the We Believe here.
We Believe, yeah, with Stack Jack and Baron Davis. I mean, so there's been some bright spots, but not many. And it's been a tough team to be a fan of for a long time. And we have been blessed and we have been fortunate enough to watch Steph do what he's been doing for our hometown team for a while. And it honestly, it does not get old. And I don't want it to end. And I just want to enjoy every minute of it because it's beautiful basketball. I mean, you look at last game, he scored 12 points. He didn't have a great game offensively, but it's what he does on the court for the rest of the team that opens up their game. Andrew Wiggins is having an unbelievable season scoring wise.
Yeah, I talked this with you about it. Wiggins is making me shut my mouth. He is, because I was not big on him last season, but this season, dude, he is just lighting it up. And I'll tell you something else. It came out today that apparently Klay Thompson
has been running some 5-on-5.
He's doing some 5-on-5 right now.
5-on-5 today, and then he did media after, so he talked to the media.
Yeah.
And he's talking title contenders. He's not just talking best in the Western, best, he's talking title contention. And he hasn't even stepped on the court yet. And that's exciting because when that happens, it's going to be scary because you've seen now you have depth, you have scoring options, and most importantly, you have defense. This team is locking fools up. And that's exciting.
And you saw them the other night, they took pretty much the wind out of Toronto's sail, and that had to happen because they all remember what happened in that game 7 when you had 2 players go down with injuries and you end up losing the title to a team that doesn't even match up well against them. So yeah, they wanted Toronto. They wanted to beat them up pretty good, and they did just that. I think the other thing that has to be considered is that you look at all the other pieces. You look at, for instance, last couple of games, Chioza. This kid, I'm thinking, where did they get this guy? I didn't know anything about this guy. Playing well. You have, of course, we talked about Wiggins. Kuminga's been playing well. I mean, the whole, Bia, what we like to call him. Bielitsa is doing well. I mean, it looks like they're the mechanics are there. And I listened to Steve Kerr today in an interview, and he was talking about how after last season they had to go and do what's called like a shift. Okay, and the reason why they had to do the shift was because he was saying that sometimes, he said, in this league, what can happen if you have any success is that you get caught up on using, the same old formula, okay? And he said the NBA is a constantly changing, evolving league. You know, it's always changing. And what you have to do sometimes, you have to shift with the change. And so that's the reason why he was saying he said we went and picked up some different personnel. You know, obviously the players are different than what we have, with the exception of some familiar names. But he was saying, well, that pretty much means the shift, you know, throughout the entire organization of Golden State. And it's working. I mean, you look what the product on the court, and these guys are delivering.
15-2. What can you be mad about with that record, right?
Yeah.
Starting off a season like that. No, they're playing incredibly well, and you hit on it. The depth up and down the lineup, you're getting contribution. You know, you look up and down it, and you go, where's where are you lacking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can't find it. You go all the way down to GP2, Gary Payton II, and what he's doing defensively, but not only what he's doing defensively, what he's doing offensively, and how aggressive he is being attacking the rim. That's something that the Warriors will gladly take.
Right. All right, so let's shift gears here. Let's go over to the NFL and talk about, obviously, what I'm wearing. San Francisco 49ers, baby, because I'm telling you something, last 2 weeks, they have been great. And, you know, I remember people calling Jimmy G a game manager before, and they made it seem like it was a negative connotation when really I don't see it as being negative at all. You know, a quarterback is supposed to help your team win the game. That's what he's supposed to do. And that's what he's been doing the last 2 weeks. Okay. Even the game before that, he actually played well. The defense didn't play well. But the defense seems like it's starting to come together now, too. So, like you talked about earlier, big matchup coming up this Sunday against Minnesota. It'll be at Levi's. And I'm looking to see if Brandon Ayuk has another big week, because he had a really big week this last week. And he played in that game like we know Brandon can play like. You know, he caught what was it, 8 passes, I think?
Yeah,
8 passes, 85 yards. Great game. Nice to see Trey Sermon in the lineup, you know, because that's something that Kyle Shanahan had to answer about, because they kept trying to say, well, look, why isn't Sermon in the lineup? You know, and he really didn't give him a legitimate answer, you know, but he's back in the lineup and he looked decent. Defense came up big. I mean, that's just, that's who I want to see a secondary do. Okay. Now I know people say, well, you know, Rich, it's Jacksonville. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's get that out of the way for a moment, because as far as I'm concerned, I don't care who it is, because at the end of the day, Jacksonville is a legitimate team in the NFL. That's why they're there. Okay. Now their record may not show, and they might not be playing as well. But hey, guess what? When we weren't playing well, okay, everybody pointed the finger. Okay. And there's still a finger pointing at us because we're 5-5. We're playing 500 football. Okay. We're not leading the division. Okay. So I don't want to hear people tell me, oh, it's Jacksonville. Dude, Jacksonville is in the NFL. They play in the NFL. They lost the game. And now we're moving on.
And moving on to a tough team. So the Niners have done what they're supposed to do, which is beat the terrible teams, the Detroit Lions, the Chicago Bears, the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's 3 to name the 5, right? So they've done what they're supposed to do. We criticize Jimmy Garoppolo for being a game manager, but I'll tell you what's really difficult to do when you're a game manager, and that's convert on third down. And if you've been watching Jimmy Garoppolo the last 2 games, what he has been doing very, very well, and in a very congested pocket, is completing some very difficult passes on third down. Granted, they're getting themselves in great third down situations where it's 3rd and short and it's not a 3rd and long situation. Right. And so opens up the option for these quick slants for guys like Ayuk, for guys like Debo a couple of weeks ago, opens up that option, which is really, for me as a football fan, really, really exciting to see for the 49ers, because it does bring me back to the old Jerry Rice, just two-step slant and gone. And Debo has that threat, not like Jerry had, let's be honest, but Debo's got that threat.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to criticize Jimmy for being a game manager, but he is doing what he needs to do and making the difficult throws he needs to make on third down. And he's getting third down conversions, which is keeping the offense on the field, continuing to pound the run. Second thing I see that has been a huge improvement the last two games and needs to trend in the same direction is the defensive backs are eliminating the ridiculous pass interference calls.
Right.
We have not seen many of those before. When you would see one aired up 30, 40 yards, my heart would go, oh, there we go. Pass interference. That's first down. And now I'm not seeing that. So those two things do kind of give me hope, but you've beaten the teams that you're supposed to beat. This week is a huge week because this is a team that you have to win. This is a team you have to beat. And they're a really, really good football team. And their offense is really, really explosive.
No, they are. They got Delvin Cook and of course
Jefferson.
Yeah, and of course Kirk Cousins is going to be Kirk Cousins. So, but I think also that this game will be the game that tells who the Niners really are. This is the game that once it's over, you'll know whether or not if San Francisco has the ability to not only win more games, but make a serious run in the playoffs. I'm going to shift gears here because as always, we only got 30 minutes. Las Vegas Raiders. I know you probably think, oh man, why are we talking about Las Vegas Raiders? Well, because this is a franchise this season that has had to deal with a lot. Okay. John Gruden ends up losing his job. They got the situation with Henry Ruggs. And ever since then, those two things, it's like the Vegas Raiders they've just been exposed. That's the word I want to use. I mean, they got walloped by the Chiefs, I can't think of the game before this one, but they played. I want to say, was it the Colts? I think it might have been the Colts, but they got hammered by them too.
They lost the Bengals, Chiefs, and Giants were their last three losses. Yeah, the Giants. That one hurts.
Okay, all right. Thanks for the correction. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
But right now they're standing. I don't want to say they're in last place, but I think they're
5-5, so they're a game behind Cleveland, Indianapolis, Pittsburgh 5-4-1. You got Buffalo, the Chargers, Cincinnati. Those are all teams that have one more win than they do. With all that's been going on, I mean, all that you've had going on. You talk about the Gruden, you talk about the Ruggs. Now you talk about Davis and Gruden wanting to sue the NFL and all this nonsense going on, all this noise, a quarterback who people are calling soft, a fan base who's frustrated. They're 5-5, dude. They're right there. They are a game out of being in playoff contention. And when you get in the playoffs, who knows? So their offense needs to step it up. They need to get a little bit better. That's just, I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like Carr's gonna have to show everybody. I mean, he started off the year like people were talking MVP again.
Yeah, I was saying that he was having a monster season. His first 3 games, he was airing it out. But I also think too, because I spoke to a couple of close Raider fans. And I asked him, I said, well, do you think, Carr's on his way for an MVP season? They just said no. Just instantly, no. And I'm just like, wow, coming from the fan base, that's kind of harsh. But then one of them even said, look, at the end of the day, it's the Raiders. And I'm like, wow, that's just bad, dude. That's just. But I mean, to your point about them being just one game out, that is something, to consider when you think of the 3 losses. That's actually not bad. And we're going to have to shift gears again because we only got like 10 more minutes. So it appears that the Fishers were going to buy land in Nevada. And when
are we still figuring out where the Oakland A's are going to land? Is that what this is?
That's the whole thing. That's the whole.
Is this like a game? Like, we set up a game? Maybe we'll set up like a dartboard or bocce ball, or like, hey, where are the Oakland A's going to end up?
Yeah, but I'm saying by them buying that land, which I don't think they even bought it. They said something to the effect that they didn't actually have to buy it too. That was the other thing. But apparently, them even doing that, I think that pretty much says it right there. The writing's on the wall. They're not going to be in Oakland. And it would make sense. The reason why Gabe Kappler said I'm out. Okay. Because we talked about this on the last show. Gabe obviously knew something, and that's why he left.
Mora, right? No.
Melvin.
Bob Melvin.
Bob Melvin. Did I say Gabe Kaplan? And by the way, nice job of Mr. Kaplan getting manager of the year.
Well, a lot of things. Kappler getting manager of the year, Buster Posey getting comeback player of the year. There's a lot going on. Giants signed DeSclafani today. They signed getting close to a deal with Alex Wood. So there's a lot going on. They still got to make a decision with Gosman.
Wait a minute, I thought the Wood thing was done.
I think it was close. I didn't see if it was finalized. It was a 2-year, $20 million year deal. So I'm sure it's finalized, but Melvin hit the jackpot. He may be going to a beat up San Diego Padres team after last season, just because they got spanked so badly, but he's going to a really, really good team with a really, really good lineup.
Yeah.
That dude hit the jackpot. He just got out at the right time and he hit the lotto, and he's going to go over there. He's the winningest coach in Oakland history, and he's going to go over there, and I wouldn't be surprised if he won a ring.
Okay, but that scares us Giants fans, because if he wins a ring, then that means we're not. So that's kind of the way that works. So, but I will say this much. This is just hard to say, but it's like, if you are a fan base in Oakland, the only thing you have left to be proud of is Golden State, because they're steering nearby in San Francisco. But the other two teams, like Raider fans, oh my God, the city of Oakland just kicked them to the curb. And now it appears that they're doing the same thing with the Oakland A's. Okay. And apparently, what does it show? It shows that whatever Libby Schapp gave to the Fishers and Dave Cavill, as far as a counter offer, obviously they don't like it. Okay, because that's just, first of all, even the idea of them going to Vegas doesn't even seem right. Because it's like, okay, you don't even have a fan base here. You'd be totally starting from scratch. Okay, and now if you say Raiders, that's different. Why? Because Raiders are known internationally.
Well, not only known internationally, but they were in LA for a while, and LA and Vegas, in proximity are crows fly away, so or as the crow flies, they say, it's not that far. So the Raiders makes a little more sense. The it's like I'm in the position where it's like I don't even care.
Yeah, it's like
go.
When you think about this, there's so much more going on over here, okay, in sports, that if they do something that tips the scale, that sends them over to Vegas, you're just gonna say, okay, bye. Okay, because you know what? Obviously, you wasn't here trying to help the team anyway. Okay, more than half of the prized possessions of players that you've had, you've always traded them away. You don't spend any money on the team. You look at Oakland Coliseum, it looks like a dumpster fire. It's like, dude, come on. If you want to leave, go. You look better going and coming. And by the way, don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Yeah, because I'm just tired of the toying with everyone's feelings and emotions, and especially if you're like a diehard A's fan, like you got to be devastated over this back and forth. You feel like a dang yo-yo, and the organization can't get it together.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Yeah, it is frustrating. It's definitely frustrating for A's fans. Longtime A's fans are probably gone anyway. They probably said we've had enough. It is. We just had I think it was 107th big game, Cal versus Stanford, and it was hard to watch. But I knew Stanford was going to lose because they have last couple of seasons they haven't been playing that well. They're not having a good season this year.
Yeah, it's not a good year for any Bay Area college football team.
Yeah.
San Jose State included. They got a big game coming up Thanksgiving against Fresno State, who Fresno State is just smoking teams right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if they win the Mountain West. But yeah, Stanford not looking good. I mean, even the down south teams, UCLA, USC, no bueno. Cal.
Yeah. The Pac-12 is looking with the only bright spot being Oregon. Okay, but the Pac-12 is looking. It's looking kind of janky right now. It's not really much. I mean, and we have college basketball beginning, which means March Madness is coming soon. But I tell you something, the day that Klay Thompson steps on that court, I'm going to be right in front of my TV so I can see it. I just can't wait. I cannot wait to see that. That is going to be just a momentous day.
Better believe it. That is going to be that's going to be fun to watch. There's going to be a lot. I mean, the last time I saw that man play was on my birthday 2 years ago when he blew out his ACL in that playoff game and ran back out of the tunnel to try to finish the game or at least take his free throws.
Right.
I mean, that like I'll remember that the same way I'll remember Matt Cain's perfect game.
Yeah.
So
I've been trying to think of a nickname for GP2, and I think I got it.
What's that?
Son of the Glove.
Son of the Glove. That's pretty good. I think he gave his own nickname. Like he threw out his own, or he heard one, and that's one he stuck with. Was it? I think it's Young Glove, right?
Yeah, I love Son of the Glove. I love that. Glove. Yeah.
Hey, Gary Payton, the original Glove was filthy. Man,
his defense was off the chart. He was another Oakland native that we sent someplace else.
Bro, you know what I mean? I would have loved to have seen him and Sean Kim just continue. I mean, do it for a little longer out there in Seattle, man. Because they had that run, they had that year. It was it's tough. You're going up against Akeem, and but still.
Hey man, I'll tell you something. I saw some dunks from Sean Kemp before. I wondered if in the dunk contest if he could have battled Jordan, because that boy could dunk.
Man, vicious.
He could dunk. I remember him doing he did a dunk in what was called the World Basketball Classic. They only had it like 1 year, but they brought all these teams from around the world. Okay. And dude, he was on Team USA, dude, and he was just dominating. Dude, he did this one dunk, from around the free throw line, just came and everybody just okay. Everybody was like, "Whoa, wait a minute." Okay,
he took off out of nowhere, like you were saying, like anywhere in the key, he took off. Mm-hmm. He was like on a pogo stick, but he was just the sheer power that he would just mash that dunk down with. Was a beauty.
Well, I will say this much. I don't think I'll ever see a stronger power dunk from the baseline than Jordan. Jordan did a dunk from the baseline in the slam dunk championship the year he's battling Dominique. Man, I never seen anything like that, man. That dude got up, okay, had the ball like this, palmed it, had it right here next to him. got up, man, got up over the goal, and then just in one instant, I'm like, dang, dude, that was so sick. And he got a perfect score off that dunk.
All right, we could safely say Jordan probably top 3 greatest basketball players of all time, right?
Yeah.
Would you call him the top 3 dunkers of all time, though?
I can't honestly say that.
I couldn't, man. I've seen Jordan do some amazing things. I've seen him poster some ridiculous players. But I've seen some pretty amazing dunkers.
Yeah, there's been dunkers that haven't even played in the NBA.
Yeah.
There's been guys that, they had, their own type of contest that they've done. Not to mention, there was guys that dunked well before Jordan. There was who
was it? Something Thunder.
Chocolate Thunder.
Chocolate Thunder.
Yeah.
Was he the Hawks? You had some ferocious. Dominique was a precluded Jordan. You know.
And then you also had. They called him Dr. Duncanstein. That's what they called him. He was the only person, with the exception of JaVale McGee, because when JaVale McGee did it a couple of years ago, but he was the first person to dunk 2 balls at the same time.
Dang. And back in the day.
Yeah. Wait, we got to get going. We're overtime.
Yo, we got to do a show on some old school players. Daryl Griffith, Dr. Duncanstein.
Yeah. All right, man. So you have been watching GameFACE. I'm Richard the Razor Ewing. He's Matt, none the wiser wise. And just remember, GameFACE, Bay Area Sports, magnified.